Hi everyone, my name's Damara, and today this video is called Game On. We were always the ones we were waiting for. But it's not as simple as that, is it? Because which part of us are we waiting for? How are we sitting within this physical temple right now? And what I find every day is I either am working with somebody as a mentor, or I'm doing a reading, or I'm just talking to somebody I've just met, synchronicities, you know. But what I see is that so many have not got a clear idea of what we are trying to do within this physical temple right now, because there is something that we need to achieve. And what it is our higher self being totally integrated into who we are, so that we come from that place with the guidance coming in from the part of us that is outside this planet, if you will, like in a different dimension. But it's not even that straightforward. It is accessible. Every part of that is accessible, because this physical reality is so much more than we actually every day think about it. And a lot of people are still lost, with most of them in the matrix. So I'm thinking, let's do a visual. I've got a piece. I don't know whether I'm going to pull this off, but I'm going to have a go. I'm no artist with the pen, but I'm going to pull on every bit of help I can get here. So I'm just going to adjust this camera here, and I'm hoping that we've got enough light here. Maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't. I need to get some good lighting. I'm sure the universe is going to back me with that requirement. Let's try it there. Maybe here. Okay, so this is us here. And we're just going to make this like very basic. This is us. This human person, okay? And, you know, within the matrix, if we put matrix here, this is where the majority of people live here, connected into the matrix and the 3D. Now, also, this is not even straightforward either, because here we have this, what we have is like the cape of the person, the shadow. Right? There is a shadow that needs to be healed. I haven't met anybody who didn't have a shadow. I mean, when I think back and I think to the like fantastic guru figures that I have met and have had amazing spiritual experiences with, I can say definitely there was a different presence and an energetic aura, that as they even walked in the room, it was hitting me and cleansing me and taking me to another space. So I have met people who are within their higher self, for sure, in a bigger, much, much bigger way than most people walk this planet. But most people are mainly pulling on this part of themselves, right? So this is like a cloak that covers you, and you can bring that to you, okay? So what we're looking at here is this is how we operate. And then something happens. We meet an old friend in the street who is very good at overpowering us. And what happens is we're triggered into feeling vulnerable. So what we do is we pull on our particular shadow self and place it over us, okay? And I'm not going to put it on this person. I'm not going to actually draw that, because that's not where we want to be. And in order not to do that, you have to have healed. You have to heal your shadow self. And this is all to do with what was protecting you as a child to help, and through the early years of your life, and maybe even still a lot now. this is the thing. We need to start assessing how much we are still in shadow. And this shadow can take on many sides. And for this person here, if they're feeling really vulnerable, this is going to be a protective shadow that comes in. And they're either going to, what is one thing we would do if this is a really strong, overpowering person that we've met in the street and we're not in our full, whole, holy self? Then what we would be doing is drawing on protection. And we would be going into the yes man, wouldn't we? Because we don't want to get triggered. We don't want to go more vulnerable. So the protection would do that. Some people, if they met a person in the street who was very strong and they felt overpowered, they might go into the comedian. This shadow might be the fool, the geek that comes out of them, and they start dancing around and cracking jokes and making fun of themselves or even the other person to try and get away from the hard-faced person that they are standing in front. But you need to work this out for yourselves. What is your shadow? And this is what this video is about. When I am sitting with a client and I haven't met them before, or somebody that I'm just meeting in the street, I am always looking at, what am I dealing with here? Am I dealing with the real person and I'm feeling incredibly connected to this person, or am I dealing with somebody's shadow? And what you need to know is that in order to heal this, you've got to go back to the past and the things that made you need that huge protection. And this is about healing the shadow and healing your inner child so that you have just you that you're dealing with here, not that you pull on this shadow and cover yourself over. This is going to be a short, simple video, and I'm going to carry on a series of these. But let's now look at what else is available. So what if you've started to heal that shadow and you're now doing meditation? So what we got here is you radiating out more. You are becoming and pulling on this vibrant higher self. So this is the higher self, the part of you, the huge energy being that is in another dimension. And you have access to not only bringing this protection from the lower and the stuff that needs to be healed in order to survive as you stand here in this world, but you can pull on this higher part of yourself. So what the exercise is here today is to assess where you're at. Because if you're starting this journey and it really is game on, we were the ones we're waiting for. But what we're waiting for is to take on our whole self and pull this in. But you can do this whilst you're healing the shadow. And this is the journey that you start to heal the need to pull the protective coating over and go deeper into a lower self that feels a victim or feels like they have to be a comedian or even feels like they have to be an aggressive devil. Because that's another side of it. That's another shadow. Have a look and own your shadow first. And at the same time, as you're on this path, as you will see from my playlist, Fast Track to Cosmic Consciousness, you can also be meditating and eating right so that you're lightening your body in the weight side, on the energy side. You're no longer eating heavy, karmic-ridden foods like a lot of meat or a lot of fish. And a lot of chemicals. That's kind of the worst thing ever, because it's actually upsetting the whole system of being able to hold this earthly body into place. And that's what our job is here, so that we can then inhabit this body with our higher self by meditating, by eating right, by keeping the right company, by actually looking at what you're doing in this life. What are you eating in the way of energy by the people you have around you? What are you eating and taking on board that you watch on the television? The news, the lies that are told in that matrix world, because all of that stops this higher, holy whole of you coming into that body and inhabiting that body. I'm hoping that this quick little journey here with a very basic visual will help you to see, because what we need to have done is healed this shadow so that we know that there may be some little bits that we haven't healed, but that mainly we inhabit this in all its physical, intuitive wholeness as a physical temple. And that we don't have this covering of the shadow over the top that we fall into. And that we are pulling more and more on grounding our higher self, who we are as that soul entity, into this body. And put an assessment on it. Draw it yourself and start to think about what are your triggers that make you go into a shadow self. Is it an angry, horrendous, like devil-like character? Is it a meek and mild and person who doesn't speak up for themselves victim? Is it a comedian? Is it a showpiece that goes into the actor and performs yet another act? And assess it. How much are you, as this temple here, in shadow? Are you over the 50% mark of being in this vessel ready to bring in? Because it has to go over the 50. If you are 50, 60, 70% shadow walking this planet, then you need to do a quick rally and get going and really take on board this game on. Because this holy entity that's coming into this body, that we are putting in the disciplines to bring it in, is part of our new world. You cannot do it in shadow. We are coming to that point, and I've shown this many times on a video. Let me just get this camera reconnected here. Maybe we can prop it up. But we're going on that dividing path. The people who are still all in shadow, as these fill with their holy whole selves, we're going on separate paths. There is still time right now, because these are still together at this joining point. The healing is still possible, but there will come a time very soon in the future where it'll be too difficult. The energies will be too high. The cleansing energies that are going to be rolling through the planet, around the planet, on the planet, are going to bring that frequency up as they cleanse the old energies. This is a cleansing. This is not a disaster. Stop saying it's a disaster. These are earth changes that have been programmed into the whole of our reality from the start of the reality. This is meant to be on purpose now, and it is happening. Ask me any questions in the comments. I will answer. And I'm going to go on to part 2 of this Game On series. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps. Ask me if you do not understand, because this has been my speciality for the whole of my adult life. Thank you. Please like the video.